Hi everyone, my name's Talia and I'm your College Officer for Social Science, and I'm joined with Hayley today, and we're going to be talking about careers and employability. So I've got a few questions for Hayley, and I'm going to start off with, what is your role in careers and employability?
So hi everyone. So my role, my overarching role is to provide our students with support, advice and guidance around career planning, and that's to ensure they're prepared for their next step, whatever that may be. My role is currently split into three main areas. So that's one-to-one careers advice for students, employer engagement activity, and that's to ensure that we're building those relationships with employers to open up opportunities for students, and delivery of careers workshops in the curriculum as well.
Fab. What advice would you give to students who feel anxious about applying for graduate roles?
Okay, so to really try to remove that anxiety, the key is preparation. It's to research the role that you're applying for, research the company, know the company inside out. That's its culture, its mission, its values, understand their recruitment processes. All of this information is available to students before they actually get into that recruitment process. So you can actually practice those various elements, and that might be writing a CV and a cover sheet. It might be online tests, whether that be psychometric tests or situational judgment tests. It could be video interviewing, given that we're in this situation with the pandemic and a lot of employers are turning to that, or indeed it might be assessment centres. And the careers and employability team have support for all of those different elements. So we have workshops for the CV and cover sheet element. We have the My Careers tab on Blackboard that you can access. Everyone can access that on Blackboard, and you can actually then go on and practice online tests and video interviewing. And then the employability framework that we have, the Lincoln Award, that will allow you at the end of that employability award to actually have practice for an assessment centre with a partner employer. So well worth doing.
Yeah, I think sometimes you forget about all these different resources that can really help you with that. And definitely the Lincoln Award, having that experience with sort of someone external, I think is really valuable for sure.
Absolutely.
Um, so, how do you think the pandemic has impacted the job market?
So I think in recent times, certainly since the Brexit vote and obviously now the pandemic, it has been quite a tough time for graduates, and they've been disproportionately affected by the reduction in opportunities available. So I think last year when the pandemic first hit, employers they made knee-jerk reactions. Some of them, some graduate schemes stopped recruiting altogether. Some, they deferred their offers from 2020 to 2021, which obviously then has a longer term knock on effect. However, many employers, particularly the larger national employers, they've been able to react really quickly. A lot of them are citing that they're recruiting record numbers of graduates this year. And another positive is that the pandemic has pushed everything online. And I know that we're all missing that human contact, but in the same way, there are positives to everything being pushed online, because it's opened up opportunities that otherwise wouldn't have come about. Employers have realised that flexible working, remote working is a real possibility. It's something that we are all doing, and something that graduates need to be prepared for when they go out into the world of work. I know for this year, Ernst & Young forecast that sectors will see the sectors that will see the largest growth in employment demand through 2021. It's around professional services, admin and support services, ICT and construction.
Yeah, that's surprising to hear that actually some places are recruiting more, but I guess really
Yeah.
sort of reassuring to hear, definitely. So you sort of touched on a few of them, but what are your tips for standing out in job applications? So your sort of top tips for people.
Um, I think I bang that drum about researching the company, speaking to people who are already in the organisation, to make sure that that research isn't just based on the information that's publicly available, but actually by trying to connect with those that are already working in the organisation. If you can network in any way, you can demonstrate far more effectively your motivation for joining that company. Obviously, if you can get any kind of work experience in the field, this always helps, but any kind of volunteering or work experience that you can get involved in will certainly develop your skills. Another top tip, because a lot of my background before this role was in recruitment, is actually about bringing your personality, bringing your whole self to that job application and that interview. So I think what a lot of people, graduates and experienced, more experienced people forget is that skills and the technical elements of a role, they can be taught, particularly to graduates who can potentially be molded to that role and that company. But your personality, who you are, what you can do in a team, how you can persuade and influence other people to get on board with your ideas, how you can bring a team to life, how you can push a project through. All of those skills and who you are can't be changed by that company. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that potential. And it's important that you make sure that the nerves don't get the better of you and you bring your whole self to that interview and show off that personality.
No, definitely. And that's something as well, if people are not too sure on sort of what their main strengths are, that's something that careers and employability can sort of help identify as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, there's the skills assessment that we offer that is really useful, that will identify any gaps in those skills that you have. And it also helps to be able to think about how you actually evidence those skills, so that when you come to an interview, you've already done that background research about yourself and what you've done. And you think, well, actually, I can demonstrate my team working skills because I was involved in XYZ project, or my communication skills, or whatever it may be that the employer's asking you about. But if you've done that prep in the background, actually when you get to that interview stage and that application stage, you're in a far better position to be confident, to not have that anxiety, to your earlier point, and really you're increasing your chances of success all the time.
No, definitely. You sort of touched on it a little bit in terms of sort of volunteering work experience.
Mhm.
But for students that feel they've missed out on volunteering or work experience, are there any opportunities they can still get engaged in, even though we're still sort of in the ends of the pandemic? Is there anything students can get involved with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that a lot of the placement or work experience opportunities were either cut last year, or perhaps longer term placements have been reduced to shorter term online experiences. And I have heard students say to me, well, actually, I didn't get involved because I didn't feel like it was going to be worthwhile. It's online, it's not what I want. Well, actually, the world of work is online, it's real, and it's a true reflection of what you're going to be experiencing when you get out into the world of work, in most professions, or in a lot of professions. So what I would say is, any virtual experiences that come your way, jump at them, do them, because they are really worthwhile. The other thing you can do in order to be sort of more proactive is thinking about making sure that you've set up alerts on Campus Jobs, which is the university's student employment agency, and to make sure that you are being alerted to any employment opportunities that might be interesting to you. There's obviously the student unions volunteering website and platform. The pandemic has actually opened up a lot of opportunity for students to get involved in more community-based projects, whether that be volunteering at a food bank, or helping the elderly with collecting prescriptions, or whatever it may be. The pandemic has opened up that opportunity to get involved. And so even if it's not particularly within the line of work that you're looking to get into longer term, it's all of these things are great because they allow you to develop your transferable skills, which ultimately is the thing, as I talked about before, is what's going to stand out from the crowd if you can use these skills that you've developed in a particular role. Another platform for people to be aware of is Do It, which is the National Volunteering Database, and that's another place for students and graduates to actually go and have a look to see what other opportunities are out there volunteering wise. And for those students or recent graduates that want to be a little bit more proactive, we have a number of funding pots available to help employers take on recent graduates and some students on shorter term internships, and we provide funding for that. It's called Graduate Internship Live, and we host events to learn about this and what it means for students and employers on a monthly basis. This month it's on the 27th of April, and it's on our events page on ulcareers.co.uk. So anyone that perhaps any students or recent graduates, particularly who have a company in mind and they think I'd love to do some work experience or do an internship within that company, we will then talk to you about the funding pots available at this event, and we will help you to make what's called a speculative application, where students can be proactive and approach those companies about who they are, how they could help, and the funding that is available to actually support them, so it's free to the employer. So that's something for those individuals that do have specific ideas in mind to certainly consider.
No, that sounds really great. And again, we've sort of touched on these throughout, but how can students get involved with careers and employability, sort of the first kind of steps if they've never sort of contacted you before, if there's different year groups, sort of what should students do if they want to get in contact with you guys?
So usually, in the normal world, we as a careers team live on the ground floor next to the library, and we offer a drop-in service. But however, the centre is closed at the moment due to the pandemic. So all of our services are still running. We are all still here, but it is all online. It might be easier because actually those resources are available right there and then when people need them. So ulcareers.co.uk is the place to go, and it's really easy to navigate depending on who you are and what you're looking to get out of the service. So a brief summary in terms of the kind of services that we offer. So there are a group of careers advisors, myself being one of them, and we offer one-to-one careers advice and guidance to students. There are 45-minute appointments. Students can go online and book in on those. They can go through this diagnostic tool, and it will ask them 3 questions, and to make sure that you're getting the right appointment. It might throw up a careers advice and guidance appointment with one of the careers advisors. But if a student, for instance, needs some support from a recruitment process perspective, then it might throw up a careers clinic appointment, which is a shorter appointment, but it's more focused on those recruitment process based questions. We also run sessions within the curriculum. So a lot of the students will have already seen myself and some of my colleagues delivering workshops within their modules based on employability skills. We also have an events page that I've talked to before, and that lists events that we're running either as a careers team on particular skills sessions that we have going on in the central skills workshops. So for instance, if you want to know how to create a LinkedIn profile, you can go on there and book yourself onto that. Or if you want to learn about interviewing skills, there'll be sessions on that. But we also run events with employers, and so you will learn how to get a job with a particular employer, and we record those sessions so they are available online afterwards as well. The other thing in terms of the different year groups, so for finalists, we over the last few months we've been running our finalist career launch, and this is an employability checklist for finalists to make sure that they are doing everything within their means from an employability perspective to make sure that they're ready for their next step. All of the sessions that we have ran are accessible and available on demand, so you can catch up on those sessions. And the other thing that I wanted to mention, and we've also talked about this previously, is the Lincoln Award. So you can complete this, start this at any point during your time at the university. It's an employability framework. It really puts to the fore your extracurricular activity, and it also combines that with employability workshops and develops your skills. So at the end of the award, you are able to sell yourself to an employer. You can demonstrate how you've developed particular skills. The wonderful thing about the Lincoln Award, as we've mentioned, is the fact that at the end, there is an assessment centre. It's a practice assessment centre. So we partner with a real employer. They come along and they run it as if you were going for a particular job. You get to practice those group exercises, those interviewing skills that otherwise you may not be able to do, all without the pressure of that real job at the end. So well worth doing. And you can learn about the Lincoln Award online on the careers and employability site. So for anyone that's unsure, there's a small video that talks to you about the Lincoln Award and what's involved on there. So I would urge anyone that's considering it to go on and have a look.
That's great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, all the questions I've got. So hopefully that's been really insightful for students in case they weren't too sure what careers and employability can sort of offer. And yeah, like we said, if you ever want to query anything, you can speak to your reps and they can point you in the right direction, but also Hayley's let you know all the places to head to. But thank you so much, Hayley, for answering those questions.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you.